Hello, Snugglebugs. Welcome to today's card review for Whizbangs Workshop. We're coming at you with the Rogue cards, which I'm actually kind of excited to look at. I haven't looked at them yet. I saw a couple, get posted on social media and that kind of thing, but I know that there are pirates. And even though Hook Tusk, I believe, is not in rotation, I only say believe because I did look and couldn't find her, but one can hope and one can dream. I do just like Pirate Rogue. I don't want it to be super aggressive necessarily all the time, but I just like it. So it's just an archetype that I tend to enjoy. And speaking of which, first up here we have a 3-mana 3/2 minion called Bargain Bin Buccaneer, which is adorable, by the way, which is the 3-mana minion, apologies, with Rush and combo, you summon a copy of this. Now, I will say I did see the legendary, which we'll get to later, so the fact that you summon a copy is going to be a bit more than just the fact that it's another 3/2 Rush. Now, I will say 3-mana 3/2, obviously bad stats. Rush makes this decent. The pirate tagline, I think, in the right deck could make it playable. But comboing this out, I mean, a 6/4 Rush effectively is amazing. And like I said, there's some synergies with the additional summon mechanics. So I do think if the package works out halfway decent, that this will be a staple. And honestly, could be a staple in a decent amount of tempo-based decks anyway, just based on the fact you can get 2 3/2s with Rush. Okay, next up we have our first spell already, which is another pirate-based spell. It is a 1-mana, which is dangerous, both for just Rogue in general, and again, unfortunately, the two cards I did see were both the legendary, so this kind of potentially goes with this as well, which we'll get into in a minute, which is just draw a minion, and then if it's a pirate, get a coin, which if you're playing in Pirate Rogue, not necessarily 100% of your minions, but a good chunk of them. So 1-mana draw 1 is already pretty good. And then, of course, if you get a coin, you not only kind of could get this card for free that turn, but you could save the coin for later and then play it. Potentially, like you could dig for treasure if you get lucky and draw or already have the Bargain Bin Buccaneer that we just discussed. Next turn on turn 2, you could coin it out, which combos it to get you 2 3/2 minions with Rush on turn 2, which is pretty good. It gives you that coin you can either use right away to make this free, or you can use it for later, right? Some economy plays. Really strong. I just think it too. It's could be played in any deck that even runs some pirates, I would say. Next up, we have Pirate Support. So not again, this might be a card you'd play in a pirate deck that isn't a pirate, so you might draw this with your spell. It is a 2-mana 2/3 toy boat, and then after you summon a pirate, you draw a card. So it's kind of like the buzzard, the old hunter buzzard that used to draw a card every time you played a beast. And note, excuse me, this is summon a pirate, not play a pirate. So this is why I was saying there's going to be some synergies with summoning pirates. The wording, I think, is very important. Because let's say you play Toy Boat, they don't kill it. You use the coin from before or do something to combo out the Buccaneer that we just talked about, and it summons 2 pirates, technically. This would actually draw you 2 cards. So it's not whenever you play the pirate, it's summoning one. So if you have, I can't remember again if Jolly Roger is staying. Apologies, I'm not fully memorized. I did look at the core set, but I didn't memorize it. But something like Jolly Roger, if you summon, like if you play it on 1, have a weapon or whatever, and then Toy Boat and attack, and you summon the 1/1, this would still draw you a card. So having tokeny style effects with this, I think will make this really good. And 2-mana 2/3 is just not a bad stat line. Obviously, 3/2 is usually what's preferred in a lot of cases for 2-mana to be aggressive, but because, of course, you want this to live, to draw the swab of the stats makes perfect sense. And then we have already another pirate. This is the miniaturized pirate from Rogue, which is a 5-mana 4/3, so not well statted, honestly, but your next card this turn costs 3 less, so you can combo this out with any 3-mana or less card for free, and therefore you effectively can get this being if you do play a 3-mana card, this is effectively a 2-mana 4/3, as long as you play something with it. And then, of course, miniaturized, which means you get the 1/1 version. It's a little sandbox scoundrel down here, the little tiny one. And it's because it's a 1-mana cost. Later, it becomes a 1-mana 1/1, which is just pretty typical, but also then reduces your next card by 3. So pretty strong, I think. I think this is going to be really good. And, of course, a perfect 1-mana cost reduction to make the 3/2 rush we were just talking about free. So like you could play this and then get 2 3/2 rushes, and if you have the toy boat, you draw 3 cards, and I think this is going to be a very, I mean, it could be aggressive, but I feel like it's going to be board heavy, draw power type pirates, which makes sense, right? You're building up your crew on the boat and you're taking, well, I don't know, so far there's nothing really about taking treasure, but let's continue here. We do have the the water cannon, which makes me do think that the person we were just talking about is probably not in rotation, because this would be dangerous to have with that other pirate, Jolly Roger, I think his name was. But anyway, it's a 4 mana, 3/3 weapon, which is not great statted. I mean, 4 mana, 4/3 or something is probably more normal, but the difference is this has after a hero attacks, summon a 1/1 pirate that attacks a random enemy. So again, it says summon. So let's say you play this attack, that turn, that you play the the workshop or the toy boat we talked about. Again, that draws you a card. So this has some extra synergy, plus the 1/1 attacks immediately. And if it is face, if that's all that's left, it's not like it says it dies at the end of the turn. So you get the 1/1 and 1 charge damage. Or if they have, a 1/1 minion, you don't want to waste your weapon on it. It does say random, so it could still miss, but you could attack face and hope that your 1/1 takes out the minion. So this is versatile. It's summoned, so it's going to have effects staggered across some cards here. And then it's just not actually that bad of a statted weapon, in my opinion, anyway. So I think this will be run in a lot of rogue decks, not just pirates. And then, of course, the pirate package just looks really good right now. Speaking of which, if I'm not mistaken, here he is. This is the one I was talking about. This is Shoplifter Goldbeard. Look at him stealing some lunchboxes and stuff. Or at least it looks like lunchboxes to me. It is a 6 mana, 5/5 pirate. And after you summon a pirate, you summon a copy of it that attacks a random enemy, then dies. Now, the wording of this to me, I will say, is pretty poor. Just because summon a pirate and then summon a copy of it makes it sound like you would summon a copy of it, which then triggers the summon of a pirate. I haven't seen any confirmation, but I would imagine that's not how it works. Or you just have an unlimited board of single pirates, because it dies after it attacks. So then it would be, attack, die, and you just win. It'd be an OTK even with a 1/1. So I'm guessing it's just a 1 per summon. However, again, it's anytime you summon a pirate, summon a copy. So let's say you have the Shoplifter Goldbeard, you have the miniature that you were holding on to, the 3/2 that effectively summons 2 pirates. So for like 7 mana, you could play this, a 1/1 that summons a 1/1 and attacks, and would be 4 3/2s that attack random things, and then the 2 with rush that come back or whatever. So you get a lot. And then if you have the weapon equipped on top of that, you have your 3/3 that can clear the board, and you get another 2 1/1s because one that comes off of Shoplifter. And there's just a lot of almost hecticness going on with sort of the random attacks, but like just a board full of pirates that you're just throwing out as cannon fodder, right? And I love it. This may be my new, not quite for the same reasons, mind you, but maybe my new Hook Tusk for the next couple of years, just my new pirate crush. That is a nice beard. It makes me a little jealous. Mine always ends up being a little stringy, no matter how I try to trim it. Boom. And here we have, I think the next couple rogue cards are not pirates. I could be wrong. Maybe I missed one. I try to do them in order. But anyway, we have the Thistle Tea set, which is a 2 mana spell. Discover a spell from another class. So kind of keeping with their stealing from another class stuff. But then you get a copy of it. So in a way, it's like 2 mana, not draw 2, but 2 mana get 2, which is pretty strong. It's going to be spells, which could be important. And then, of course, because... clicked the wrong thing there. Because you get to discover, hopefully, now there's a broad amount of spells because it's just another class, but hopefully you get a good choice of one that fits what you're looking for, and you get 2 copies of it for 2 mana. You play them both, you get your copy effects and all that kind of stuff. So I think this is good value, right? Just like most Thief Rogue cards, I find can be pretty good value. Okay, then we have Everything Must Go. So it's like a toy sale. Summon 2 random cost minions for 8, but then they cost 1 less, or this costs 1 less for each card you've drawn this turn. So like, in a way, this could go in pirates, because like we've seen, there's potential for pirates to draw a crazy amount of cards. Rogue tends to have some draw engines anyway. And then, of course, if you get this down to be, because this turn, right? So like initially it's always going to be at least 7, let's say. You probably want this to cost at least 3 or 4, But the thing is, if you're spending mana to draw cards, like, I like this, and I like the concept, and I haven't looked at the location just yet, but as far as I know, it's going to be really hard to spend enough mana to draw enough cards to find a good break point. Like I said, you're going to want this to cost no more than, in my opinion, 3 or 4, just because if not, like, I'd rather just run a 4-cost pirate or something, right? But that means that you have to draw 3 to 4 cards and then have 3 to 4 mana left over to play what's left. So now, to be fair, I think the Lucky 7 card is staying. So if you were playing that card, in theory, you could use that, do the 7 damage, draw 7 cards. Since you already drew your 1 card for the turn, this would be 0 mana. So it becomes like a 2-spell combo that draws you 7 cards and summons minions. So your turn of playing, drawing 7 isn't wasted. So maybe that's kind of like a neat way to go. Or you can find other ways to make this cheaper, I suppose. But as of right now, I can't see it working outside of the scenario I just mentioned. But anything that can get cost reduction, especially in Rogue, tends to work better than I ever think it could. So I'm probably wrong on this one. Okay, then we have a callback, a location for Rogue, which is a callback to their old quest, the Crystal Cove, a 3 mana, 3 health location, and the next minion you summon this turn has its stats set to 4/4. Now again, it is summon, so like you could have the weapon, then you play the location, click it, attack with the weapon, your 1/1 becomes a 4/4. And I believe the way this would work, if it's similar to other effects we've seen like this in the past, if you have your Goldbeard pirate out, it would actually summon the 4/4 copy, not the 1/1 copy of the thing that comes out of the weapon. So like you can kind of abuse this to summon multiple things. But I mean, I think it's just pretty good if you're playing like low minions and stuff, because like 3 mana effectively, say on average you're buffing, say, a 2/2 or something like that. Oh, excuse me. For 3 mana, you're effectively getting 6/6 in stats, and it's over multiple turns. And like I said, if you put this on really low charge or random attack style minions from the pirates or something, this could definitely see play. The fact it's only 1 minion means it's like not going to be too broken in any means. Like if it says all your minions this turn are 4/4s, like the quest. Well, the quest was for the rest of the game, but you get my point. It would be way too strong, I think. But in this current state, I think this will see play, but I don't think it's going to like define any build or anything like that. Could be wrong, as always, but that's my opinion. Then last but not least, we have the new Sonya here, which is where I was talking about the 1 mana spell, which is why it might just get played. This might get played in Pirates just because you have 1 mana spells, and the 1 mana spell might get played in other Rogue decks, even with minimal Pirates, just because of this, which is after you play a 1-cost card, get a copy of it that costs 0. That also means you're miniaturized pirate as well, right? It doesn't say 1-cost spell or 1-cost minion, just 1-cost card. So like you could cycle through. Now luckily it's now costs 0, so it's not going to be unlimited, but it kind of is like the Tamsin Rome from Warlock before, where it's like you're probably going to save up some 1-cost things. There's probably going to be some kind of combo and things like that where you save them up, go Sonya, play them all for 1, and then 0 to like either just win or wreck at least the board or set up some kind of weird combo. I think this is really strong. Luckily, it's limited to only 1-cost cards, and I say that because, like, they could have something where it's like every time you play a card, get a cost to your hand that costs 1 less or something. Obviously, that would cycle and be way too strong. But it means that like you're gonna have to almost build a deck of 1-cost cards, and if you save them up too long, it's possible that your opponent just wins. But like at the same time, Rogue with any kind of cheap spell, and then of course 0-cost things at all, always turns out. Sorry, really bad way there. Always turns out bad. Like let's just be honest. It always just kind of becomes bleh, Rogue and there's 0 mana stuff. But yeah, those are the cards. Again, I'm just going to kind of sneak back here because I just want to end on this. This Shoplifter Goldbeard is definitely going to be my #1 card. And maybe, I said this a few times already in other class reviews, so I apologize, but maybe my first deck we play on day 1. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below on the Rogue cards and what you'd like to see me play or what you'd like to see played, whether I guess by me or someone else, I suppose, when the expansion first comes out. And I'm trying to make sure I keep note of what people have been saying. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed us taking a look at these cards, my opinion, and just like hopefully it either matches yours, or again, you can share yours in the comments down below. I'm always open for discussion on just about anything, to be honest. Doesn't even doesn't even have to be cards. Just what's going on? What's going on with you? You know, let me know. What's up? And I'll see you in the next one.